When visiting a country or region, we want to spend our time as efficiently as possible so we can visit all the iconic locations in that country or region. Aside from meticulous planning, a list of things to bring is also important before we set off to travel. There is a number of travel platforms which make it easy for us to determine our next destination. However, the information they offer can be incomplete. Instead, some of these platforms rely on personal reviews and comments. This is where travel bloggers come in. They can be very helpful in providing us with their recommended travel destinations as well as the do's and don'ts that we should know before visiting the location. Moreover, travel bloggers who are contributors in the travel platforms can give complete and detailed information regarding tourist destinations featured on the site. Aside from giving reviews, they can also give creative ideas on what to do during our visit. Just like our guest this morning, who's a travel blogger and contributor on several traveling platforms. She also earned a guiding star on Google's local guide as a creative contributor. We will talk more with Indah, Nuria, Savitri in a moment only on the C Morning Show.
Welcome back. We're still here on the C Morning Show and continuing on from our previous topic, which was more about
burnout, right?
Burnout that we're experiencing. You were telling us that, you've experienced it at some points as well during the pandemic.
I often experience it.
Yeah, right? And obviously one of the ways that you can deal with burnout is by traveling. Don't you agree? Even before the pandemic.
Couldn't agree more, but hey, we're in this pandemic, so we can't really travel. But we can, lower the burnout by having me time, right?
Correct.
Me time is really, really important since it can help us in appreciating and rewarding ourselves. But speaking of traveling, I usually try to ask my friends or look up some websites or find recommended travel destinations. For example, if I want to go to Singapore, I will contact my friend who lives there and ask for recommendations.
Okay, yeah, that would be the best way because they're actually there. Now, in case you don't have any friends like Crisia or all over the world, I would suggest that you try looking up maybe some travel bloggers, but make sure that the travel blogger that you're following on social media, on the internet, has reliable information because it can immensely help in making you plan or enjoy your vacation or your trip.
Right. Maybe I should try that. I should look up on the website. And what about if I ask one travel blogger myself right now, today? We're connected to Mbak Indah, Nuria, Savitri, who has earned guiding stars from the local guide community. Hello, Mbak Indah. Good morning.
Morning, Mbak Indah.
Hi. Good morning.
Morning, Mbak Indah. First of all, I would like to ask, how did you get the idea to become a travel blogger? I also know that you're also a diplomat, right? How did you find the time to do both?
Yeah, well, it's actually one of the perks of being a diplomat that you are going around the world and you're visiting several places, including those that you have never imagined before. But my passion is about traveling. Since the very beginning, when I was a little, I loved traveling with my family, and then now when I have my own family, I'm trying to travel as much as I do. But of course, that's before the pandemic. Nowadays, we have a different settings, obviously, and since traveling teaches you a lot. I mean, it's not only about visiting new places, learning new cultures, trying new recipes and local culinaries, for example, but it gives you an opportunity to actually learn about diversities, accepting differences, and how to actually have, let's say, great communication skills, for example, and how to survive outside of your comfort zone. So the idea of having this and sharing it in a blog, in the vlog, or any social media platforms that I have, I've been joining a lot of communities for that. And that includes like kumpulan emak blogger, as well as Google local guides, and other platforms as well. It's been fun. I really love it.
Indah, you didn't even have to tell me how fun it was, because we're looking at your pictures here, and I'm looking at countless destinations, the countless seasons that you've visited. Can you give us an idea, how many countries have you visited and actually reviewed, and which one has been the most impressionable? Actually, you can choose more than one, but what are some of the ones that have been most impressionable for you?
Well, that will be the toughest question, I
Exactly.
believe,
That's why I gave you a few options.
Up to now, I've been traveling to 57 countries,
Wow.
and that's in all over the continents. I mean, I'm very lucky to get a chance to go and visiting so many places, as I said before. And well, there are a few places which are extremely special. For sure, Indonesia is on top of my list, because even up until now, I haven't got a chance to actually explore each and every one of its endless beauty. Yeah? And that's the reason why I'm trying to use some of my time whenever I'm here at home to go traveling around. But I've been to places like, for example, those with specific natural landscape and unique phenomenon, like Tromsø in Norway, when we can see, you know, that famous aurora or
Yes,
northern
Northern
lights.
Lights.
That's my dream.
And yeah, I know. And then I love visiting national parks, as well as the UNESCO World Heritage lists. You know, like we have a few as well here in Indonesia, like Borobudur and others. But I also visited, like, for example, Petra in Jordan, and then you know, like Niagara Falls, and then some other spatial places outside the world. And I love diving so much. So whenever I can squeeze that diving itinerary in my trip, I try to do so. And as you can see there, it's in Lampung. Most of the time I dive in Indonesia, in some parts of Lampung, in certain part of Indonesia as well. And I've been dying to go to Raja Ampat, hopefully soon. But there are so many beautiful places out there that you can visit. I mean, even small town can offer you unforgettable experience, trying some new cuisine that you can never imagine before, or you know, like just relaxing under the sun or by the beach. It gives me immense pleasure as well.
But Indah, you seem to be an outdoorsy person then. I mean, of all the destinations you mentioned, a lot of them are, you know, enjoying the natural beauty of the outdoors. That's great to know.
Yeah, it's one of my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I love going outside. So this pandemic really sad. Well, I'm not saying it's a setback, but it's something that quite a challenge for all of us. But that doesn't mean that we cannot enjoy the beauty of our country or other part of the world. So you can do the virtual tours nowadays.
Yeah, that's
you know,
right.
like there are so many platforms offering you that virtual tours that are also enjoyable, although it's a bit different.
Yeah, actually, why don't we touch on
and then-
that a little bit, Indah, because you know, obviously, a lot of people right now who may be watching are like, well, it's great that you're talking about traveling, but right now we can't travel. Now, you did mention virtual tours. That's something that we've discussed as well here on the program. But staycations are something that I've also been to be a good option. Some of my friends have been offering, hey, why don't you just, you know, stay in your own city? There's lots of options you can have in your own city as well. What are some of the suggestions, maybe options that you have for us to kind of, you know, get away from it all right now, even though we can't get away anywhere during this pandemic?
So through staycation is probably one of the best options that we have at this point, because, well, wherever you go, whenever you go outside, obviously you have to strictly implement the health protocol. And staycation, then it will be easier for us because we don't really go far, and then we can make sure that we are disciplined enough to put on our mask, to ensure that we are, you know, properly cleaning our hands and stuff. And then nowadays there are so many facilities, hotels, restaurants, as well as some public facilities which are also imposing this health protocol. And if you go to the hotel nowadays, they they are checking your temperature since the very beginning at the entry point. And then you obviously have to wash your hands properly or use the hand sanitizers, which are also offered in so many spots in that particular venues. And even if you go to the restaurants, they have that certain capacity and the physical distancing policies, which help us to ensure that we are safe enough. And that's exactly what we're doing in our community as well. In the Google Local Guides community, when we are reviewing places in Google Maps, for example, we always try to put information about this health protocol as well, that these particular spots are implementing particular health protocols. You can only come at this certain point of time, no longer like 24 hours open, for example, or they can only accommodate 25% of their total capacity. So you have to sort of calculate what time will be the best to come or when you can actually come. And again, staycation helps you to actually explore the surroundings, because sometimes we always look afar when we wanted to travel. Oh, I want to look at the end of the world. But actually right in front of your eyes in the neighborhood, you have those hidden gems, beautiful places that you can actually visit. And that will be an amazing experience as well. And you can bring your family, because it's not going to be, it's not going to be too complicated.
Right. And apart from staycation, things that we can do during this pandemic is also plan for our future holiday, right? But sometimes when we are looking for holiday destinations, we can be overwhelmed, right, by too much information, too much options.
And maybe not necessarily the most suitable information at times, right?
That's right. And in your opinion, where is the right place to look for such information if we're planning to go somewhere?
Well, we are living in this amazing digital world. I know that sometimes it can be very overwhelming, but if you are looking at some of the traveling platforms that we have nowadays, there will be a lot of choices out there. You can definitely go to the blogging communities, for example. We have a lot of big and active travel blogging communities. You can also go to Google Maps or for us, the local guides from Google's, we have the platform what it is called Local Guide Connect, and you can see and read all the stories, reviews, as well as some of the best recommendations about places all over the world where you can start planning about your holiday or your trips when the time allows. So there are many options out there, and then you can also see travel platforms as well, which provides choices for you and then recommendations for particular spots in these particular countries, for example. And then they also give you specific directions on certain interests that you have, whether you are an outdoorsy person, for example, or if you're looking for a healthy culinary experience, or you are into spa and health, visit or trips in certain countries, then you can get that. And that's the reason why I also joined this Google Local Guide community, because there, besides us giving reviews and sharing stories, genuine recommendations to those who are going to travel somewhere, but we are also getting a lot of information from others as well at the same time, so that we we are supporting one another, and then we can get, again, as I said, honest review as well as the real experience that you can foresee to have yourself.
I think that's the best way, right? If we have shared information, peer reviews as well, so that way we get more accurate idea of some of these places, because people are actually putting out their reviews out there. Now, you did mention the community you're part of, Google Local Guide community. Tell me how that came about. Like, how did you join up with Google Local Guide community? And you're obviously the guiding stars. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you earned your guiding stars?
Well, the Google Local Guide platforms actually has been established since 2015, and well, basically, as you know, we have one of the services from Google, which is Google Maps. I think everyone is so familiar with this one. So you go take a look at the places, and sometimes if you pinpoint particular or specific spot, you can have all those reviews and like sort of a mini stories about people who have visited that place. So since I travel a lot and then I do need some review myself, I look up the Google Maps and then I said, hey, there are a lot of reviews and I think I can do the same. So by the time they opened it, I joined that since 2017. At that time I was still in New York, but then I moved back to Indonesia, and then I actively joined the local Google Guide community. We have Indonesia local guide community, and then at this point I'm also joining Jakarta local guide community. We are very active, you know, like we have a lot of chapters all over Indonesia, and then up until now, I think from the data shared by my friends back in 2018, Indonesia is the 5th largest contributors in Google Maps, and we are most of them are coming from Jakarta and Jabodetabek areas. So 140 million contributions are coming from us alone.
Wow.
So you can imagine that probably now in 2020 we have doubled, or we have added a lot more than that. And since, again, as I said, it's my passion, and I keep traveling here and there, and I keep adding places and reviews and making the Google Maps better, because sometimes we do have spams. So we also kind of clean that, and then we now add more information like accessibility for those persons with disabilities, for example, whether these particular places have access for that. And then, of course, as I said, COVID-19 arrangement. And because of that, you know, like because of my activities, and I contribute as well in Local Guide Connect, which is a global platform for Google's local guide communities. Then at the end of the year, in December 2020, they surprisingly contact me, and they said that, hey, we're gonna have 50 guiding stars from all over the world, and you will. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. I mean, like, it is, of course, an honor for me to be part of it. And I share a lot about Indonesia, the beauty of our country. And I focus a lot on oceans, particularly on my diving activities and snorkeling as well. And at the same time, I can also share, you know, like awareness raising and messages about how we can preserve our ocean, our communities, our environment by doing simple things, you know, like bringing tumblers, reducing plastic waste, and even picking up, you know, garbage wherever you go, including, you know, underwater when you are doing.
It's a good excuse to go diving. That's awesome. It may have come as a surprise. It may have come as a surprise to you to receive your guiding stars, but not to us after listening about your extensive involvement with the community.
Indah is a busy woman.
Yes.
You do everything all at once, Indah, and you're living the dream of so many people. So many people wants to be like you, to be a travel blogger. Do you have any tips for our viewers who aspires to be a travel blogger?
Absolutely, because you know, I believe each and everyone is traveling at some point of time, right? I mean, you can go. Again, being a travel blogger doesn't mean that you have to go to those expansive, out of this world places. But whenever you have some trips, you know, like even in the neighboring places or in the area around your place, you can share your experience in so many platforms now. You can do the mini blogging, for example, like in Instagram, or you can write it down in a more complete, detailed stories in your own blog, or you can start vlogging and use, you know, platform like YouTube, and nowadays even TikTok, for example, to show that you've been traveling here and there. Or you can also definitely join us in Google Local Guide community by, you know, putting reviews in Google Map. And then once you have achieved level 5, which is not so difficult to get, you can join us at the local Google Connect. So you can join the global platform and global community who loves traveling and sharing the stories as well. So easy peasy.
Yeah, well, you got to start somewhere, right? And thank you so much for joining us. It's been so great talking to you. Thank you for being such a happy soul. You're just so bright and brightening up our morning here in the See Today studios. We hope to speak to you again soon. Stay safe, and by the time we talk to you, you probably would have traveled to 157 countries. countries by then.
Amen.
Enjoy.
Oh, I'm into that. Thank
Take
you so
care.
much for the
We'll talk to you again
opportunity.
soon, Indah.
You too. Stay safe.
Have
Bye.
a great day. So look, I know you've always wanted to be a travel blogger, so very easy to start. You know, you don't think about it, but the things that we have in our hands day to day,
Right.
Instagram stories, just make an IGTV,
Yeah.
record it, things that you're doing even when you go on staycation, you know?
I've been doing that actually, only through my Instagram.
I know, actually, I know because I follow your Instagram. That's why I know you do stuff like that. So obviously, you would be a very good candidate to join by Indah's community.
Amen. Bye, Indah. Wait for me.
All right, we're gonna have another short break, but we have some stories about Indonesia's finest tea coming up. So stay tuned right here on the C Morning Show.